Hi, honey, how are you? It's Teknikolour. I just recently launched a new shell challenge to celebrate my birthday. So let's check it out. So this right here is the shell of the build that I came up with, and you can download this yourself on the gallery. Just go to my gallery ID Teknikolour and you can find it at HBDTech25. If you just use that hashtag, you'll find it. And I will be doing tours on April 26th. On my Twitch stream, but let's check out my build. And this is what I came up with for my finished shell challenge. And I took a long time. I think overall it was about 10 hours of footage, and some of my building sessions didn't even get recorded. I don't know how. I had originally started playing around with the roof and I was recording, and I ended up coming up with a roof that I really liked really quickly. And I was like, oh, this is perfect because like the recording won't be that long, and it never recorded. So you can't see how long it actually took me, which was not that long. I was actually really surprised. Sometimes it can take me an extremely long time to roof a build, especially a shell challenge, because they can just be kind of quirky to roof. But this one was fairly easy to get done, and I'm just really pleased with the result. I knew that I kind of wanted this light green feel for the majority of the house, and I know that using the happy birthday items for my happy birthday themed shell challenge is quite on the nose, but how could I not? My favorite color is green, and they just gave us these lovely green swatches of the happy birthday update items, and I was just like, I have to go with this. So that's kind of what I went with. I also wanted it to be kind of brick, kind of siding. I wanted there to be a little bit of a mixture, so I wanted there to be different textures, and it ended up turning out pretty good. It took me a very long time. I took out a lot of footage. I cut this down significantly, but I had originally been messing around with it, trying so many different things, so many different colors, and I finally stumbled upon this, and I think it all really works well together. And I don't know that this is a combination that I normally would have picked, and I also don't think that I would have picked this sort of stone at all. Like, I don't think this was something that I normally would have gone for. But for whatever reason, it works here. I also really liked the overall exterior of this build, because I wanted it to be kind of like that stone sort of look. I wanted it to have these cute little fences. I wanted there to be almost like a cats and dogs kind of feeling to it, although I don't really think I'm using much from cats and dogs, at least on the exterior. And I just wanted this to look very suburban and very cute. I thought it was extremely interesting because I kept flip-flopping between where I was eventually going to place this build, and I really only had 3 choices. I had Copperdale, which I feel like I've been building in Copperdale a lot, and also Brindleton Bay, which is one of my favorite worlds and I build there all the time. And then San Sequoia, which is also one of my favorite worlds and I build there all the time. So I was like, I don't know. So I was actually building in Newcrest for the longest time. And then I decided to move it to the San Sequoia on a lot that I actually really enjoy building on. It's that corner lot that's all the way at the top of San Sequoia's map. And it just looks really cute. It's a really nice lot to build on, at least in my opinion. And it's just always really fun to come up with something for it. So I'm really proud of this build, and I really hope that you enjoy it too. But it took me quite some time to really figure out what I wanted to do. I also kind of felt like the exterior looked like it was missing something for an extremely long period of the build. I was like, I don't really know what to do because I can't really put a window here, and I don't really want to put a window. and I just don't know what to do. Sometimes I feel like a bare wall is just wrong. I don't know why. I feel like I see other people do that and I'm like, oh my God, it looks fantastic. But if I do it, I'm like, oops, it's unfinished. Do you feel like that too? I don't know what it is, but I was like, wait a minute. What if I put ivy or something like crawling up like one side of it? And I thought it was a really cute touch. I think it really finishes the build. This also ended up being a 2-bedroom house, and there's the primary bedroom with their own ensuite, and then there's like kind of a weird little kids bedroom. And I was like, I feel like people are gonna look at this and be like, this layout is weird, because there's kind of just like, there's the bunk beds, and then there's kind of like just this triangle area. So there's kind of just like this open space behind them. And normally, at least for the top bunk, you would want them to not fall out. But I feel like these kids are old enough that they're not going to be falling out of the bed. Plus, my bedroom growing up was a little bit funky. Not so much funky in this way. It was more of like an attic sort of room. So I had like slanted ceilings and stuff, and it all worked. It all worked. I only hit my head on it a couple of times. And I just wanted it to be a little quirky. It is a shell challenge after all, so I feel like you just gotta roll with the punches sometimes. I also knew that those windows that are kind of in the front of the build on the second floor, I knew that that had to be a little nook. Originally, my thought was to make it an office, but then I was like, this is just going to be a cute little library space, and there's just going to be 2 little armchairs, and you could just relax in there. You can have a cup of coffee, read a book, look outside on the neighborhood, and I just feel like it's kind of like that cute little porch area, but on the inside. You don't gotta deal with the bugs. You don't gotta deal with the actual neighbors being like, hi, how are you? Like, I don't want to deal with that. I am a New Yorker. I don't really want to know my neighbors. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I do have some very good neighbors. Do have some not so great neighbors, but you know, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But I don't know. I just always grew up being like, your neighbors are there, and if like something happens and you need like their help, or they need your help, like you'll be there for them, but like you don't really want to like strike up a conversation. Like you're not going to be like going out and like having a cup of coffee at their house. It's not like Murder, She Wrote or any of those. It's not like Golden Girls. It's not like any of those shows. It's not that sort of thing. At least not in New York City. And that's just my take on it. That's my take. So it's just kind of an introvert's little space to still have that little porch area, but on the inside. Does that make sense? Is that weird? I might be crazy. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I have to tell you, I celebrated my birthday on stream, and I actually celebrated the day before my birthday, and my Twitch chat actually unlocked me going for a 12-hour stream. So that means that we ended at midnight on my actual birthday. So I kind of got to like ring in my birthday, like my next year, with all these lovely people in my community. And it's just always really fun to celebrate your birthday or like an anniversary on Twitch. I don't know what it is. It's just, I feel like the conversations that you have with people and just like the things that you're doing are just so fun and just so like, I don't know. It's comforting. It's almost like getting to hang out with your friends in real life, but you are kind of just there on your own terms. And I don't know. It's just like a really fun experience. Also, so many people were super kind to me and had gotten me gifts this year. And a couple of those were actually Sims packs. So I am very excited to say that I now officially have every single Sims pack. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I started like in November of 2022. Like that was the first time that I picked up any Sims game. And my first Sims game was The Sims 4. My very first packs were like Cats and Dogs, which I think was the bundle that I ended up getting, Get Together, and Island Living, because I decided that to sort of learn The Sims 4, I was going to do my own legacy challenge, and I was going to play through the Little Mermaid story, basically. So it was going to follow King Triton and Queen Athena all the way down to Ariel and her family until she had her daughter, Melody. Like, that's a lot. I'm doing an entirely new legacy challenge now, and it's kind of to get me accustomed to all of the packs that I've accumulated, but really haven't had the time to like deep dive into each one. So right now we're actually going to be focusing on Island Living, and it's going to be really fun because it's my first time living back in the world of Sulani since my Little Mermaid challenge, and I missed it. I actually just built a micro home for my legacy heir, August, or Gus Wyndham, and he officially took over the legacy yesterday. So if you would like to swing by my Twitch channel, I stream The Sims 4 every Tuesday and Thursday morning, and it's been a lot of fun. It's also very interesting because Gus, his story is really fun because his dads were rich and he kind of hates them. And now he has kind of like rejected his generational wealth and now lives in a micro home in Sulani where we're struggling to get simoleons. He also lives with our immortal cat, Pickles, which is reason enough to check out this legacy challenge, in my opinion. But anyway, back to this build. I honestly have to say, this shell challenge came together so much better than I thought it was going to. It did take me a while to figure out the floor plan for the second floor, but the first floor was fairly easy to pull together. Originally, I was going to have, like, if you're coming in the front door, I was going to have the kitchen on the left, but diagonal walls, I was like, that's not happening. So I moved the kitchen to the right-hand side, and it just flowed really well. Also, that little window in the front, like that big picture window, that is a little breakfast nook. It's kind of like the dining room as well. And oh, I would love to live in a house like that, that has like the bench and then the table and the 2 chairs. I don't know. I think it's because when I was growing up, our kitchen had like a normal kitchen table, but it had 2 chairs on one side and a bench on the other. So it just kind of felt like that is what family style dining is. Like that's what like a eat-in kitchen sort of place should look like. And I don't know. Like the bench was different. It's not like built in. This one's built in, but I don't know. It just reminded me of growing up at my parents' house. So I really liked it. I've actually done builds like that before. I had done one for a friend's shell challenge, and I think that that was probably one of the better kitchens I've ever done, at least in a shell challenge. And it had the bench. It had the bench set up. It was not functional because I don't think I had dine out at that time. So I don't think I had any benches that would fit for dining. They've released some others since. There might have been some in the base game, but I had no idea that that was even a thing when I did that shell challenge. I remember being like, this probably won't be functional, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But this one's functional. Like that should work. I also knew that I wanted there to be a fair amount of landscaping. I just really didn't know what I was going to do with the landscaping. Here's another thing. I am so not confident when it comes to landscaping for my Sims builds. I don't know what it is. Even when I participated in the builders games, I think the comment that I got the most was about my landscaping, that I just needed to do more. I needed to elevate it, and I needed to not be afraid of like terrain tools and just doing that. And I'm still afraid of terrain tools. I'm still afraid of landscaping. I don't know what it is. I just don't know what to do. I feel like my builds usually look pretty good when they're landscaped, but just figuring out what to do is it's so much of a burden to me because I'm like, it doesn't come naturally to me. There's so many people where I look at their build and I'm like, this looks fantastic. And a lot of it is landscaping. Like so much of it is landscaping that really pulls it together. And then I feel like mine just kind of look lackluster in comparison to so many other builders. So if you are a builder and you have suggestions for me for how I could elevate my landscaping, please let me know. I don't know. I should probably reach out to some of my friends who are like superb builders to be like, look at my build. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. How do I improve? Teach me your ways. Because I feel like everything else, I can make it look really good. I've also learned so many tips from some of my favorite Sims builders, and I incorporate a lot of that into my own builds. You start to see your own style sort of just like blossom from that. And I think a lot of that has to do with shell challenges, because I don't think I ever expected to get into gameplay much in The Sims. Like, I really like gameplay in The Sims, but I love building. Building is so much fun. And it makes sense because I love building in a lot of games. And I think my gateway into The Sims 4 was Animal Crossing New Horizons. I used to love building, like whether it was like decorating my own house, or I was even just decorating around the island. I mean, again, not great at landscaping, but when Happy Home Paradise came out for Animal Crossing New Horizons, I went insane. I built so many vacation homes for so many villagers, and I would spend the longest time. So if you're a simmer and you've also played Animal Crossing New Horizons, you know that like building in The Sims is a lot. Like there's only a couple of lots that are like very tiny. For the most part, you can basically build whatever you want in The Sims 4. In Animal Crossing, you basically just kind of have a box, and it's not a very big box. And I used to just make like fully fledged homes. I used to give my little Animal Crossing villagers, they had their own little like ensuite bathroom. There was this cute little like half bath there. Like I would make the craziest houses, and they were also like spot on for exactly what their like personality was. And I just like put so much thought into it. I loved it. And so many people were like, Tech, you need to play The Sims 4 because you would be a phenomenal builder and you would just love it. You would get lost in it. And they were right. They were right. I mean, I have every single pack now, and I am very lucky for that because a lot of that was because packs go on sale fairly frequently, but I also received a lot of gifts from friends who had recognized my love for building. And I also am in the EA Creator Network, so I get to check out a lot of packs in early access, which I will also do on my Twitch channel. And I don't know. I never expected that at this point I would have every single pack. And there is a reason why I'm saying this. If you too would like to take on this shell challenge, you can do so until April 26th, because April 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time is when I am going to stream the shell tours of everyone's builds. So come to my Twitch channel, and there's going to be like a little redeem that you kind of just tell me your gallery ID, and I will find your submission and I will tour it live. And I love doing that. It's honestly so much fun because I see so many different creative builds. Like some people have made like shopping centers out of one of my shell challenges, and I literally just always make a house. I really should branch out more. I have done some community style lots, but I just love making a nice little home. I don't know what it is. I just like doing residentials. I like, even if it's a vacation rental, It's my vibe. I just love doing it. And I just, every single time that I have done a shell challenge, whether it's one that I've hosted my own or I've participated in somebody else's, you just see the tours and what people have come up with. And it's phenomenal to me that people will look at the same shape. Like everyone gets the same shape and they turn it into something entirely different. Like even if you end up taking this on and you also do a residential build, yours probably won't look anything like mine. And that is what it is so exciting to me about shell challenges, because I just love building. And this was kind of like my way to figure out how to start building. Was I did shell challenges. I don't know that I ever felt that confident coming up with the shape of a build on my own. So being constrained to like the exterior walls, like you can't change those in a shell challenge, that was very exciting. That was very exciting because it was like, here is your structure. You could do whatever you want with the inside, and then you kind of just have to decorate the outside and make it look like a building. And aside from roofing, to me, that was not that difficult. And landscaping, but that's another thing. I think one of my favorite parts of this build is actually the living room, because I consider the living room to be like 3 spaces, because it kind of is. There's kind of like the side door, and then there is like the actual like living room, like where the TV and the couches are. And then there is this like tiny little office nook. And I took an extremely long time trying to figure out how to set up that office nook. And originally it was an enclosed room. There were 2 desks in it when it was actually not closed in. I made some choices and I cut out a lot of the footage because it didn't end up in the final build, but I think the way that this turned out, especially using the new businesses and hobbies like divider wall things, I've been using those all the time and I'm just obsessed with them. I think they just add something to the build, kind of like those eco lifestyle. And I think we even have ones that are from City Living, like they're like dividers. And they have ones that are horizontal and they have ones that are vertical and they go to like the entire wall height. And oh my God, I just love them. I think that they're fabulous in basically any build, but I use them a lot in mine and they just add character. Maybe they don't. They do to me though. I also decided that I would be using kind of like flower beds in this build. And I think having that sort of structure, like having those lines to color in, if you will, with my landscaping for my driveway was just perfect. And I was originally going to have a driveway, if I was going to have one, on the left-hand side of this building. I always knew that I wanted the right side to not really have that much landscaping. It was like kind of just going to be like at the edge of the lot maybe. And I actually tried putting this on 2 different lots in San Sequoia, and the lot that I ended up picking has like the curb that is like cut down for a driveway, and it's just perfect. It all lined up exactly how I had it in my head, and I don't know, it was just really fun. I also knew very early on what I wanted the front of this build to be, because with the shell, you can essentially rotate it any way you want. And you can make any side the entrance. And so many people, like you'll see at the shell tours when I tour everyone's builds, there's going to be almost nobody who makes the entrance to their house the exact same. It might even be like the same place, but it's not going to look the same. It's so wild to me how so many people will just like look at the same thing and like just interpret it in a different way, and it just all comes together. Oh my God. It's one of the most exciting parts about being a Sims builder is doing shell challenges, and especially hosting them now. So the fact that I can now host shell challenges where there's no pack restrictions, because now I have every single pack. Oh my God. I have been waiting for this day. I never thought it would come this early, But thank you so much to everyone who has gifted to me over the years and also has helped me with my lack of self-control and just helped me pick packs by myself too. And I don't know, I'm just so excited to see what I come up with and what other people come up with, especially because there's so many items in The Sims 4 across all of the different packs that I like find something new every single time I play, even if I've had a pack for like a really long time. So seeing what people use in sale challenges is always very exciting because people will just use an item that you're like, where did that come from? Like my boyfriend, he has like maybe like a stuff pack and like maybe 2 kits. Like he does not have many packs on his own. And he has done my shell challenges and it's basically a base game build with like 1 or 2 packs and it's phenomenal. He always like shocks me. And his last shell challenge for me, I think it was like a toy that he used and he sized it down and he made it into like bookends. And I was like, where did that come from? Like, what is that? I've never seen it before. And just like the creativity that people have is just so exciting to me. I also think I did a really good job with this shell challenge because it doesn't feel too much like a shell to me. Am I delusional? Does it look exactly like a shell? I can't tell. I have this little like dog area. I have the bedrooms. I have everything just set up in a way that it just feels as if it's a normal house. And I don't know. I think it's really cute, especially like the exterior. Oh, the curb appeal is to die for. And I really can't wait to show you next week's video because it is completely different from this and it's completely different from so many things I've been building lately. Like I have been doing a lot of mansions and larger builds and officially doing my first micro home. So I kind of just can't wait to show you that. But if you would like to check out this shell challenge, again, it is HBD Tech 25 on the gallery. And you can find me on the gallery, just my name is Teknikolour. But we are basically at the end here, so why don't we hop into the game and I'll give you a little bit of a tour. Here is my build, and I think it's so unrecognizable from the original shell. I'm very pleased with the way that this one turned out. You basically come over here onto this front porch and then you go into the little front entryway area. There is the kitchen with dining area. There's access to the backyard and the deck. Then there's a little half bath in here. This is the office space. And then we've also got this living room that I just think is just so cozy. There is this side door, which of course you can get into from your car, which we don't have in The Sims, but you know. And then here's access to the backyard. There's pool, there's loungers, there's a little dining area. All of my terrain paint went away. But here is the little like dog area. Up the stairs, you come into this little hallway and there is the like main bathroom for everyone. And then over here is that little library nook. Here is the kids' bedroom and then the primary bedroom and bathroom over here. And that is basically the whole build. I hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos. And don't forget, you can check me out over on twitch.tv/Teknikolour. But I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.